Hi students, so welcome to Python Programming Lab Series. I am Dr. Varada Rajkumar, Associate Professor, Department of CSC, AIML, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. In this session, we will learn inheritance in Python. Inheritance is an important topic in object-oriented programming. Overview of the session. In this session, first we see introduction to inheritance in object-oriented programming. After that, we see some types of inheritances in Python with examples. Outcome of this lecture, at the end of this lecture, you all are able to understand the concepts of inheritance and how it promotes code reusability. And you implement different types of inheritances in Python and you apply inheritance in real world application development. So what is inheritance? The name inheritance means acquiring the properties of a parent to a child. Okay. Now coming to definition, inheritance allows class, that is a child class, to acquire properties and methods from another class. This class we call as a parent. So it is inheritance. Inheritance means acquiring the properties of one class to another class. In our previous class, we learn about class. So for example, this is the class 1. Now, so this class 1 have some attributes and some methods. Now, I want to inherit these attributes and methods into another class. This is the class 2. Now, so this class 1 will inherit into the class 2. Now, this class 1 we call as a parent class and this class 2 we call as a child class. Now, what is the definition? Inheritance means acquiring the properties of one class to another class we call as a inheritance. It promotes code reuse and establishes a relation between classes. Here, these attributes and methods we defined in class 1, but we are reusing these methods and attributes in class 2. So if you define another class, class 3, now the same class 1 we inherit into the class 3 also. So this concept we call as a reusability. Now here we are establishing a relation between class 1 and class 2. So class 1 we call as a parent class. So class 2 we call as a child class. Similarly, so class 3 is also a child of class 1. Okay. So enables method overriding and code hierarchy. Okay. In next class, we discuss about what is a method overriding. So coming to syntax of the inheritance. So this is the how we define a class name. In this class, we are going to define some methods. Okay. Now inheritance means class name. In brackets, you give the parent class name. Here, what is the parent class name? Parent. So here I gave parent class name here. Okay, so now, so this is the syntax for inheritance in Python. So class parent means class name. The same parent class name you are going to use in brackets of child class name. Okay. So this is the example program. Here we have two classes, vehicle and car. Now here in this vehicle, I defined a function start. Now this start I want to inherit into the child class. How? Class, what is the child class name? Car. Inheritance means in brackets you mention the parent class name. Here what is the parent class name? Vehicle. So here I mention vehicle as a parent class name. Now what happened? So this is the vehicle, have the method start. Now this start will inherited into a class car. Now this car have one method drive. Now this start is also inherited into the car. Okay. How we invoke these methods means with the help of child class. Now this is the how we create the object. What is the child class name? Car. So how we create the object? Object name equals to class name. Here in this example, the class name is car, the object name is C. Now C dot start. Now it prints engine started. C dot drive. So car is moving. Now you understand the start is a method defined in vehicle, but we are accessing this method through object of child class. Okay, so now we see the types of inheritances in Python. We have different types of inheritance. One is single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. So single inheritance means one child class inherits from one parent class. So for example, this is the class A, this is the class B. Now this class B is derived from class A. Now this type of inheritance we call as a single inheritance. So multiple inheritance means one child class inherits from more than one parent class. So for example, so this is the class A, so this is the class B. From these two classes I am defining one new class, so that we call as a multiple inheritance. How many parent classes? More than one parent class. How many child classes? One child class. So this child class inherited from more than one parent class. Multi-level inheritance. A class is derived from a class which is also derived from another class. So for example, this is the class A, class B. Now class B is inherited from class A. In the same way, the class C is inherited from class B. So this type of inheritance we called as multi-level inheritance. What is a multi-level inheritance? So deriving a derived class or child class from another derived class or child class. Hierarchical inheritance. So multiple child classes inherited from the same parent class. So this is the class A. Now class A, from class A I inherited two classes. So more than one class. In this example I inherited B, C. Both the classes are inherited from the class A. Okay. So this type of inheritance we call as a hierarchical inheritance. So hybrid inheritance. The combination of any two or more types of inheritances we call as hybrid inheritance. So for example, this is the A, B, C. Now from C, if you derive another two classes D and E. Now this is multiple inheritance and this is hierarchical inheritance. So this type of inheritance we call as hybrid inheritance. So now we see the single inheritance. So single inheritance means deriving one class from another class. Okay. So now in this example, the derived class name is child. Now this child will inherited from the class parent. Now this is the which type of inheritance? Single inheritance. How we know? Here how many parent classes? One parent class. How many child? One child class. So this type of inheritance we called as single inheritance. Now, so this is the parent. Here we are defined one method show. It prints parent method. So similarly child, here I define one method display. It prints child method. Now, so how to inherit? In child class, you mention the parent class name in brackets. Okay. Here, what is the parent class? Parent. So I define here as a parent. Now, this is the object I created for child class. We call c.show and c.display. It display parent method and child method as output. Okay. So next, some multiple inheritance. Now here, some multiple inheritance means creating one child class. Here, child from more than one base class. One is father, another one is mother. Now, so this we call as a multiple inheritance. Here, class father, class mother. I inherited into the class child. How? In brackets I defined parent class name father, another parent is mother. Okay. Now here what happened? The father have the function skills. Now the skills is inherited into the child class. Now the mother is also parent class of child. So the talents, this function is also inherited into the child class. The child class contains another method hobby that is in the child. Now these three methods are in child class. Now if I call c dot skills, now it prints gardening. C dot talents, it prints cooking as output. C dot hobby means it prints paint. Okay, so this is about multiple inheritance. So multi-level inheritance. Here grandparent, parent, child. Now this parent is inherited from the grandparent and the child is inherited from the parent. So it is multi-level inheritance. Here also same. The property is a method in grandparent inherited to the parent. So this is the property is in parent class. Now the parent class have the method legacy. Now this parent is inherited into the class child. So both properties and legacy, so both are inherited into the child class. So this child class have the method next gen. So these are the three methods inherited into the child class. Now I created object to the child class. If I call c dot property, it prints land and house. C dot legacy, family traditions. C dot next gen, it prints new generation values. Hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance means deriving more than one child class. Here this is the child 1, this is the child 2, inherited from the same class parent. Now this we call as a hierarchical inheritance. Here the show method is defined in parent, that is inherited into the both the classes C1 and C2. So child 1 and child 2. Now the child 1 have the method interest. Similarly the child 2 is also have the interest method. Okay, now here I am creating two objects to the two derived classes. One is child 1 and child 2. C1 is object of child 1 class, C2 is object of child 2. Now if I call C1 dot show, what it prints? Parent method. C1 dot interest, it prints child 1 loves sports. C2 dot show, it prints parent method. C2 dot interest, it prints child 2 loves music. Okay. So next method is hybrid inheritance. So hybrid inheritance means the combination of any two inheritances we call as a hybrid inheritance. Here this is the class A, class B. Now class B is inherited from the class A. So this is the single inheritance. Now this is the class C. Now this is the class D inherited from B and C. So this we call as a single inheritance. So this we call as multiple inheritance. Now the combination of these two we call as hybrid inheritance. The class A contains feature 1, class B contains feature 2. So class B is inherited from class A. So F1 is also in class B. Class C have feature 3. Now class D is inherited from both B and C. So feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and the D contain another method feature 4. Okay, all features are inherited into the class D. Now we create object to the class D. The object here is obj. obj1 dot feature 1, so it prints feature 1. obj dot feature 2, it prints feature 2. obj dot feature 3, it prints feature 3. obj dot feature 4, it prints feature 4 as output. So let us execute all these programs. This is the example program for inheritance. So vehicle and car. Class car is inherited from the vehicle. Let us execute this program. So this is the output. So this is the output. So this is the example for single inheritance. Let us execute this program. So parent method and child method. So this is the example for multiple inheritance. Let us execute this program. So gardening, cooking and painting. So this is the example for multi-level inheritance. Let us execute this program. Okay. So this is the output for this program. So this is the program for hierarchical inheritance. Execute. It displays parent method, child 1 loves sports. So parent method, child 2 loves music. This is the example program for hierarchical inheritance. So this is the output. Okay. So coming to summary of the session. In this session, we'll learn about inheritance. So inheritance is a fundamental concept in object-oriented programming that allows a class to acquire properties and behavior of another class. So inheritance allows code reuse by enabling child class to acquire attributes and methods of a parent class. In our examples, we acquire the properties of a class to another class. And we discussed about the types of inheritances in Python: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. So single inheritance means creating one child class from one parent class, we call it a single inheritance. So multiple inheritance means creating one child class from more than one parent class, we call it a multiple inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means creating one child class from another child class, we call as a multi-level inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance means creating more than one child class from one parent class. So coming to hybrid inheritance, the combination of any of two inheritances is called as hybrid inheritance. In next class, we see one real-time example of inheritance. If you have any doubts, so place your doubts in the comment section. I will answer all your doubts. Thank you.